In today's video, I'll be talking about the graphic novel Lumberjanes. It's the first volume within the series, and let's just say it was actually a very interesting read and I genuinely enjoyed it. Also, if I'm looking down, I did write a couple of notes just to kind of keep myself accountable with like what I'm saying and to make sure that I'm on track and not babbling. The first 2 points that I have on here is that the artwork is absolutely amazing. It's my absolute favourite. Bear in mind it's the only graphic novel that I have on my shelves. And I've only read manga before in the past. And manga is usually pretty much the kind of like same like style of illustrations generally. Same thing with anime and stuff. It's kind of it's similar artwork to say the least. Which, don't get me wrong, is really pleasing to look at. Don't get me wrong, but this is like a completely different art style to which I've not seen before in the past. And it's definitely my favourite kind of artwork that I've seen so far in terms of it being graphic novels. And like I said, I've not read many graphic novels. I've only read a couple handfuls of manga, so I'm definitely looking forward to buying like the rest of the series as well as other means of graphic novels. I was actually quite surprised with how thin and short the novel is, because when I picked it up initially, I thought it was going to be somewhat thicker and the size of the book to be somewhat smaller, because the book is an A4 like sheet size in terms of, you know, regular books being like A5, like in between A4 and A5. So, and I was actually able to read this within a couple of hours. So, like I said before, I wasn't expecting it to be this short in terms of length. And don't get me wrong, the length was perfect, because it's like I was able to kind of like fully devote my attention to this book and nothing else, and be able to kind of read everything and consume it all, and you know, like how you do with a book when you just sit there for a few hours like, what do I do with my life now situation. So, and like, don't get me wrong, I like books that are quick reads because it's like I can like finish it up, kind of digest it, and then move on to the next book, you know, without having to. Because that's the thing, don't get me wrong, I love reading longer books, but sometimes it can be just a bit drawing and annoying, and like I just want to finish this, but you get my drift. I kind of like with graphic novels anyway, I feel like you get a better sense of what the characters are like throughout, because you know how with most books you just kind of get like a brief description of the text, and like the way that they say stuff kind of defines their character almost. I feel that with graphic novels in general, more so with Lumberjanes, is that I was able to kind of like understand their characters a lot more, because I was able to see their actions as well as how they speak. So there's a character called Ripley in the book who's like teenager age, but also when you read her, like what she says is kind of somewhat cringy, but in a good way. But kind of seeing her actions as well kind of shows that she's also a somewhat child at heart character as well. She kind of acts like a child who doesn't really know her way much, and will just kind of, you know, when she's talking, she'll kind of like go off the rails in terms of her story and then get back on it, which is kind of me at times as well. So I can kind of relate to that, because there's so many times I've done that. And yeah, like, and kind of, you know, having, you know, the illustrations throughout the novel as well as, you know, the text and stuff, it does help kind of build the character, and I did feel like a lot of that as well, especially with like a lot of the other characters as well, because it also helped me kind of like understand them a lot better, in terms of, you know, how they think and how they walk and process stuff. Because if it was just text, I wouldn't have gotten it as much, but because of the, you know, having the images like along with it, it does help a lot in my case anyway. That's just me. That's just my personal preference. So, and you know, throughout the novel, I definitely feel there was moments that you could laugh at, especially with Ripley and how chaotic she can be at times. Unapologetically chaotic is what Ripley is. And don't get me wrong, I love the kind of like unapologetically chaotic, because it kind of adds to the story. It makes the story a bit more funnier than if she wasn't there at all. I just love that. But yeah, there is other moments as well that do make me laugh. I'm like, I can kind of see that and move on to the next. But especially when they're in like for anyone who's read the series, would go into the tunnels or whatever, and just kind of like talk about something, and then kind of, you know what I mean, there's always funny moments to laugh at. The same thing with like, with regular books and stuff, how you always get like funnier moments in that, and like you just want to stop and like just kind of laugh and for a little bit then go back into reading. There's definitely moments like that throughout, to which I actually enjoyed. And if there's a book that does make me laugh, it just makes me want to kind of like read it again and again and not get bored of it, because it's comforting for me anyway. And I would recommend this if you're wanting to get into short reads, because it is, like I said before, it's quite short. And obviously if you're wanting to get into graphic novels, like in my case anyway, then I would definitely recommend it. It's funny, it's all this, the illustrations are amazing. Like I said before, there's like, well, this is like the stuff that didn't make it in the kind of final copies, but this is like other stuff that they'd worked on before it got released. But like, as I said, the art was just amazing, and I would definitely recommend this if you want to get into short reads, because like I said before, it is quite short, and want to get into graphic novels as well, because I'm in that position where I've only read manga in the past, and like a few copies of manga I've never really read much, but want to get into graphic novels. This is definitely like a entryway into the world of graphic novels and stuff, so I would definitely recommend that. I hope you guys enjoyed this little book review. If you want to watch content similar to this, please subscribe, because I will be making other book reviews in the future, while also making through my TBR pile at the current moment in time. Also, please like this video if you like Lumberjanes or like graphic novels in general. And like I said, I do recommend this highly. So if you're wanting to get into graphic novels, pick this up, because it's definitely amazing. And I'll see you guys in the next video.